Comedy Film Festival. We have an event coming up in November, our last one of the year, Austin Comedy Film Festival Fall 2022. We're featuring all kinds of comedy films, comedy series, episodes, romantic comedy, mockumentary, horror comedy, dark comedy, funny music videos, you name it. We're going to be showing it. All content that's designed to make you laugh. Everything is 30 minutes or less. And we've actually got a director, Kate Robards, with 2 films in the festival. Thank you, Kate, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm
Well,
going to be
let's talk
super
about.
obnoxious. Yeah, I'm going to be super obnoxious and say I didn't just direct them. I also wrote and acted in them because that's how you have to do it, you know?
Filmmaker, it's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
slash wearing all the hats. And
Exactly.
that's great. That's how you learn all aspects of the business. And you put forth 2 great products that are judged independently, loved independently, cheered independently. And we can't wait to show them at the festival. So thank you for joining us.
Oh my God, thank you so much for having me. And I'm a Texan and I live in New York, but like I'm from Texas originally, so this means so much more because I'm like Texas.
Awesome. You got some friends coming to the festival?
Yeah, we are like honestly like seeing if we can just make it at the last minute. But I do have some friends that I'm sending to that are in the like Austin comedy kind of like filmy world, which there's so many. It's like popping over there right now.
Man, so busy. It's like our program, just so much. There are people that have deferred till next season, but there's so much participation. It's really exciting to see. Let's get into it. The synopsis of The Rest. Talk to me about that.
So, especially during the pandemic, I felt like there were so many like rich white women, and it's all very good to like, they're like, we need a break. We just and I'm like, you what is going on in your like, do you need a break? And there's a club, a place, and to satirize something, you have to kind of love it. But there's this like very hippie dippy woman who has this show called The Club. It's like not a show, but I'm like, it is a show because it's hilarious. But it's also, it's just like a workout class where it's like, and I'm like, this is hilarious. And I would get all these pop-up ads, and I'm like, why is this catering to me? So I just kind of wanted to make fun of that world a little bit, you know? And that just kind of felt like an easy target. And I did acting school, this really fun place where Mike Birbiglia's director teaches. And so I've like taken, their 1 year acting program, their 2 year acting program, they have a conservatory that their directing program. And I just love it. So a lot of my friends during the pandemic where I was like, let's make stuff, like let's come together and just do it. Yeah.
All right. And let's talk about the other one, Shitty Stripper.
Oh my gosh. I I like potty humor, and that's like something, I'm from a super conservative like Christian small town on the Texas Louisiana border, like on the Gulf Coast. And like my family is just horrified, but I just like think it's so funny to have like innuendos and once again like a troop of like well-meaning women who like I honestly don't know. That's just sick. Like whoever did that is disgusting. I'm kidding. I wrote it, and then it was fun because I got to make the poop. So I was also a prop master. Um, but it was they're all really born out of like me wanting to make things with my friends for fun and like also make fun of them and me and the culture we live in. But if anyone who's made anything knows, it's funny because we're like, oh, we're just gonna make this. It'll be like, and it always takes way more work than you think. And I'm really lucky that our cinematographer Sal has been so dedicated. But it's like, you know, it's there's so many moving parts, right? And it's like, I have as a writer and a performer, my friend, we had started this production company, Neurotica Productions, once again during the pandemic as a way to keep creative, keep putting things out because we're used to performing live. But I like, you can't do it without having all these other people help encourage because you just can't do it on your own. It's like you can't set up. I mean, you can, but it's like it always takes way more work. So I had, Allison Chase and Lucy Fleming are my two production partners, and they always help us get in teams, and we always have volunteers, and like, it takes so many people to make such a small film. Because everyone
it,
does.
it does. Do you have any particular, on either of these, any particular learning experiences that you maybe took from this from shooting either of these things that you're like a little film school, a little taught you a lesson?
Yeah, a little film school lesson was a kind lesson from my friend Allison, who is the amazing person who like made sure we even applied to some of these festivals, and like your amazing festival. And she was like, little tip, a little bossy. You're a little bossy as a director, and I was like, because it's very different. I do a lot of solo shows and solo plays, so I can like boss myself around. But when you're working with friends, you have to really respect one another. And I think you're like, oh, well, you're my friend. I don't have to be super professional. And if you want to maintain a good friendship, you have to like remember to not be, because I can be very goal oriented of like corralling people. And it's like things take time and that's okay. And then the other thing was, especially being a writer, once, and because I trust these actors as actors, once they started kind of like improvising and ad-libbing, they gave me feedback on my script and I was able to like incorporate that into the script. So that was really fun, is like when you're working with actors you trust. And like, you know, there were just some fun shots and the rest were like one of the characters is having like, and I don't know, she's like this euphoric orgasmic experience and she like grabs dirt and like soil and lifts it up from the ground. It's very silly, but it was like something is, it was just like little directors candy, like they just like are very impulse, like doing these fun things on camera. So then you want to make sure you can like get it all. But we only shot with one camera because we only had one camera. So it was, we weren't able, ideally we would have two cameras so you could get a little more coverage. But there was all of the things of like, resetting, like remembering what to do. And then also if I'm acting in it, I'm like that, like, small but mighty. But everyone was so great and I know them and we're friends and we're used to working together. So that helps.
All right. Yeah. Appreciate you being transparent about all this stuff. Behind the scenes, people don't really understand how much work it takes to really create these, projects from front to back.
And the same with anyone on a film, like we're running film festivals. It's like the dedication it takes to watching so many films and like
It's
even
a
being a
lot.
supportive friend that I watch so many films. And it's like, you want them all to, they're all so good, even like the worst thing. And that's what somebody goes, I'm afraid of failing. I'm like, the only way you can fail is if you don't do it at all. Like,
Mhm.
that's how you get better.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Such a good point. Well, what do you have planned for the future? You obviously you make so much. You're working in film. You're making your own films. I mean, you must have just projects just out there ready to go.
I mean, I do. I'm like, I'm a big believer in like everyone should have scripts. And that was kind of like how these projects came to be, is that my friends came together and were like, we want to do something. And they were like, oh, we should find scripts. I'm like, hi, I'm a writer. Like here's like a bunch. And then
Mhm.
obviously our initial plan was like, we're going to do one every month, but it takes so much time and energy, not only shooting, getting a team together, doing read throughs, and then like obviously like editing and post, and then the life of getting it seen afterwards. So it's like that bandwidth, because I have a full-time job. I work at Time Studios in the kids and family division. It's a fairly new studio, but we did like the Kanye doc. We just did we did a lot of documentaries. We did Katrina babies, and I'm in their scripted division for kids and families. So it's fairly new, but I also do comedy at night. I'm big in the stand-up comedy scene, and um, I have a play that's called Orange because I'm from Orange, Texas. It's a new play that I'm mashing up from old plays that's going to open at Soho Playhouse in New York next month. And, honestly, it's just like, how do people do? How do you sleep? How do you? And I don't have kids. I'm very like single, and I'm just like, I think I have just enough energy to keep me alive at this point. Like yeah, I don't know. I always like roll my eyes when people are like, oh, like this project's my baby, and I'm like, no, it's not, but it's so exhausting. And of course, all my coworker, once I told a coworker, I'm tired, and they said, "Oh, I don't want to hear it," because they had like two kids that are under two or something, and I was like, I need the rest. I need the rest.
You know, it's I have kids myself, and I tell you what, you become more and more efficient. You never be, you have to be very organized. If you want to take on any projects, rule number one, you got to be organized. Rule number two, you got to eliminate distractions, and rule number three, you got to know how to ask for help. You have to. There's just some things that you find yourself doing menial tasks or whatever, and you just have to have someone help you out with some things. Like, if you're submitting to festivals, and try to stay on top of the email, or whatever it is. We get emails from filmmakers, and it's all about just like getting help to do some of these things. And you have to know how to ask for help. You gotta be very specific about your answers. It's like, I need you to answer these as many emails as you can from my inbox that you can possibly do, and I'll do the rest. It's like, gotta be very specific. But
And you just put it on the skill is you have to be willing to ask for the help, because
you
it's
have
like
to.
sometimes people can't even scan. And even I'll say, after directing the first one, I was like, maybe my directing won't look like a typical director on set. It'll be like helping give notes before the film, before the shooting of it, and not like, and going over like the shots that I want with the cinematographer, but kind of like, because if you're also trying to act, I think that does like make you, I mean, I'm very like high. I say like, I'm not, people are like, you're yelling. I'm like, I am not yelling. I was just a cheerleader. Like I was, and it's like, I'm a small person from Texas, and it's I had older brothers, and I think as a woman, especially in rural Texas, I was like always trying to get like authority, have an authority kind of figure. And so you're right. Like you gotta have, it's so cheesy, but there's no I in teamwork makes the dream work. And like none of these films, the two films, I'm so glad like Shitty Stripper and the rest are in there. And it's, a huge thanks to my friend Allison, because sometimes you work so hard on these things and you're like, well, that's their life. And she submitted them for me, who was, my co-producer. And, you really need people to like help continue to like push things out, because it's funny and silly, and we all need a break from the world.
We do. I worked with someone one time, and they told me, do you know that can you name any supplements or any drinks or any foods that can help you recover from lost sleep? I
Mm.
started naming all the stuff and energy drinks, and he goes, actually, the answer is nothing. Nothing can help you recover from lost sleep. He's like, you got to sleep. And, we get so busy, it's like sometimes that's the part that pays the price, right? Is like sleep. And, man, well, I'm glad I met someone who's on that busy level like I am. It sounds like you're doing a lot and
Do
contributing
you
a
have
lot to the
children?
industry.
I don't even know. I don't even have a dog. I don't even have a goldfish. I don't
Yeah.
have like,
we, the good thing is my kids help me. I have a festival this weekend, and my son is 6. He helps me give out awards, and my
stop.
daughter's
That's
12.
adorable. What festival is this weekend?
The Texas Short Film Festival in San Antonio.
Oh my gosh. Is that
Yeah,
where
so
you're in San Antonio? No,
I live in
you're in
San
San.
Antonio now. Yeah, and I'm about
Well,
70
now I'm
miles
going to have
from
to
there.
apply to that festival next year.
Yeah, please do. We have one in January coming up, so it's just right around the corner.
Are the
Um,
submissions done for that? I'm sure.
no, they're open for January already.
Okay.
Yeah, we do
Okay,
it 4
cool.
times a year, so it's pretty easy to get it. To find one to submit to. It's always open. And yeah, my son, he helps me hand out the awards. The little cute kid, and then my daughter will help me, sell like concessions and stuff like that. And she'll
See,
help out
this
with the
is why I
vending.
want kids, is to have little helpers, but
Yeah,
like,
there you go.
unfortunately, that's not always the kid you get, right? Like,
That's
I feel like I would just get the kid who's like throwing poop everywhere. This is the mind that created the Shitty Stripper. It's like,
there you
poop,
go.
poop, poop, poop.
And I hate this to turn into advice day, but I tell you what, your kids at the end of the day just want to spend time with you, and
Right.
they want to spend time with you and do what you do. And so it wasn't, now my daughter's 12, and so I pay her. It's like, I'm going to pay you to do this. So
Teaching her
um,
about the economy, about capitalism, about making money. This is a sketch. This is a short film in itself.
for
Like,
sure.
she's like, we need to talk about wage compensation, Dad. Like, we need to talk about the brand that I am helping promote. What have you
Exactly.
done for me? What's my take?
Exactly. And of course I got to, defend her from all the filmmakers. It's like, dude, she's 12. Okay. She's 12.
Does she look
Back up.
does she need jailbait on her head or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah. She looks like she's, 20, but it's pretty, that's a story for another one. It's like in Texas, it's like, I got to carry my stick, but
Oh my
it's all
gosh.
right. Get the family involved. My wife's taking tickets, and it's like we get the whole family out there on this one. But it's fun, and when you include your family, it it doesn't feel like you're excluding them to like, hey, I gotta go to work. It's like, no, we're with daddy at work, and when daddy's at work, he orders junk food, mom. It's like they're happy to go. So. But we're making it happen. Keep doing what you're doing. You're rocking. Sounds like you're putting together a good team. You're just putting out great content, and we'd love to see your stuff in more markets. We have multiple festivals, and so we'd love to see your work in more markets for sure.
What about the short film? How long are those films? 30 and under too?
Yeah, so we have 11 festivals right now, and
Wow.
we will be expanding to a 12th. It's looking like either Phoenix or Vegas. We're going to open up a new one.
Wow.
And every single the consistency you get between our festivals is that every single submission is 30 minutes or less. You're never competing with features. The longest you'll ever see are television pilots, really, that go into the 20-minute range, which we get a ton of. And 30 minutes or less is our theme. The Texas Short Film Festival and the Oregon Short Film Festival are set up the same way. My wife is from Oregon. I'm from here. We've been back and forth. Where it's every genre, and those are obviously the most popular because it's every genre and with the most attendance and all that stuff. The comedy film festivals we have are set up to just make you laugh. Different criteria. It's just all about laughing, which you scored very high. Houston was our first and still around, and we have Houston, Austin. Georgia Comedy is our brand new one in Atlanta, and we have Portland Comedy in Oregon. And all of them have the same mission. So 30 minutes or less. Laugh, laugh, laugh.
I love it. I love it. I hope everybody laughs. I'll be sending friends, and who knows, I may pop up at the last second.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
No worries. Well, this has been great to talk to you. Is there anything you want to add before we go?
Oh, I want to thank everyone with the film festival, the Austin Comedy Film Festival, for helping to support small, scrappy, independent artists and to help us get our work out there to a larger audience. Thank you for all of that you do. We really appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate the kind words, and your work makes us look good. With Austin, what you're going to notice if you do get a chance to come to the festival or get to come to one in the future, it's just all about laughing. And every director from all over the world has a different way they're trying to tickle the funny bone of the audience. It's really a fun time. So.
Tickle. No,
Yeah, it's so funny when you watch like a Texas film and you watch like a British film, and it's like back to back. It's just the weirdest dynamic, but it's so fun.
I just did stand up in Paris, and I gotta say that it was fun to. Everyone was like, "Well." Making fun of white people. And then they were like, well, at least we're not American. And I was like, well, I'm white and American. But actually, I said, I'm a Texan. So like, we're good. It's different. It's a different world. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for taking the time today. Talk to